Good evening with your CIGTV news update. I'm Simon Boxall in for Donna Bush. In our big story today, government kicked off the celebrations of the Constitution's 60th anniversary this weekend. A special breakfast event and a football match between legends took place on Saturday. A church service followed on Sunday, while the Georgetown Town Hall was formally renamed on the public holiday Monday, that was.
I consider it a distinct honor and pleasure to join you in celebrating the 60th anniversary of the first written constitution of the Cayman Islands. I extend hearty congratulations to the government and people of the Cayman Islands on behalf of the government and people of Jamaica on achieving this significant milestone. Cayman's 1959 Constitution that we celebrate today, as well as Jamaica's 1962 Constitution, were key instruments that have helped to guide the development of our respective countries over the past half-century.
On Saturday, Jamaica Prime Minister Andrew Holness, who spent the weekend on island, addressed a gathering of elected and community leaders, as well as senior civil servants, at a special breakfast. Overseas Territories Minister Lord Ahmed of Wimbledon and Governor Martin Roper also attended the breakfast. It celebrated the historic ties between the Cayman Islands, Jamaica and the United Kingdom and featured performances representing each culture. Later that evening, football legends from the UK and the Caribbean, including the Cayman Islands, played a charity exhibition football match at the Truman Bodden Sports Complex, starting at 6 p.m. Cayman Islands national team greats also joined international players on the field to help raise money for the Hope for Today Foundation. These included Lee Ramoon, Giddy Seymour, Antonio Smith, and Richard Hugh. On Sunday, a church service at Elmsley Memorial offered attendees a time to reflect on and give thanks for the journey the Cayman Islands has made over the past 60 years. Prime Minister Holness read from the scripture, as did Sir Graham Brady, chair of the visiting all-parliamentary group for the Cayman Islands in the UK. Premier McLaughlin also delivered a special message. Then on Monday, the Premier wrapped up the busy weekend with a special ceremony for what will now be known as Constitutional Town Hall.
As a town hall, this comfortable room will, I am sure, in countless ways contribute to the social enjoyment, uplift and happiness of the entire community. No longer the restrictions and discomforts occasioned by the limitations of a small room, there is now assured a stage of generous size, a room of ample space, efficient ventilation, comfortable seating, all to be taken advantage of in efforts to entertain, to brighten, to elevate and instruct those of all ages and classes within reach of its open doors." Unquote. And so it was here that lively discussions were had in the run-up to the granting of a royal order in council that gave the Cayman Islands our first written constitution, as well as provided for universal adult suffrage that allowed women the right to not only vote, but to seek and hold public office for the first time. Sir Vassal Johnson summed up the purpose of that first constitution when he said, and I quote, "A constitution is very important to any country because it is the basis on which all future development, prosperity, peace, and harmony will rest." Unquote. And that has certainly been the case with respect to these islands. While each Constitution Day provides an annual opportunity to measure how much progress we have made, these celebrations of our first written Constitution afford us an opportunity to enshrine our Constitution right here in this space we are occupying today. And so, in celebration of the 60th anniversary of our first written Constitution, and to acknowledge the role that this revered hall has played in the forming of that Constitution and the prosperity it has helped bring to us, I am pleased to announce that today we are renaming the Georgetown Town Hall Constitution Hall. And in so doing, we will help to immortalize in the minds of our people, present and future, that this is more than a mere building. This is a special place for all of us, not only those who reside in the confines of Georgetown proper, but it belongs to all Caymanians across our 3 islands. And I pray that in a few short years to come, we will also again celebrate this great Constitution Hall on the anniversary of its centenary. I thank you all for joining me on this important day in the history of our beloved islands and helping us to memorialize the document that enshrines our rights, freedoms, and responsibilities, all influenced by our history, culture, and Christian heritage, our Constitution.
In addition to renaming the historic building, the ceremony also recognized the vestrymen and justices of the peace who held office when the first Constitution was signed in 1959. After the names of those persons were read out by the Speaker of the Legislative Assembly and the Leader of the Opposition, Governor Martin Roper presented a plaque to the last living vestryman from this group. Further celebrations are planned throughout the year. For more information, visit the Celebrate Cayman Facebook page. As always, if you missed today's news update, you can get all the details on our Facebook and YouTube pages. And of course, don't forget to tune in for Radio Cayman's For the Record and Talk Today shows, which are always packed full of exciting guests. I'm Simon Boxall. Good night, and thanks for watching.
Boating, fishing, and water sports in the Cayman Islands are great, but keep a cool head. Here are 7 tips for fun and safe sea outings. Number 1. Use a checklist to plan your outing. Check the weather forecast, make a float plan, and share it with someone who is remaining on land, stating where you're going, with whom, and when you're expected to return. Visit your nearest marine supply store to get your safety gear. This includes signaling mirrors, whistles, and a flare kit. It's also very important to have onboard flotation devices and life vests for each person. There are different types of vests. Some are for water sport activities such as snorkeling, and others are for going on offshore boating or on fishing trips. Number 2. These items can be lifesavers in case of an accident or bad weather. Number 3. Use a motor kill switch, especially if you're boating alone. In case of a leak or breakdown, always stay with the boat until help arrives. If you capsize, an emergency beacon or locator device can send a distress signal to inform the authorities of your location. Larger flares will indicate distress to a boat, airplane, or search and rescue officials. Number 4. In addition to sunscreen, food, and beverages, it would be smart to have a cell phone. Make sure your marine radio works. Cayman's boaters use Channel 16 to communicate. Number 5. Also, don't forget your anchor and sufficient rope. Number 6. Boat operators should be familiar with the local waters and reefs, as well as the capabilities and functions of the vessels they are using. Always obey the rules of the sea and the marine environment, and have courtesy for others. Number 7. Alcohol and salt water do not mix, especially if you're the captain. Some useful contact numbers are 911. The RCIPS Marine Base is 649-7710, and the Port Authority is 949-2055. Smooth sailing, all!